Welcome to The Nation. I'm 𝐍𝐀𝐓𝐈𝐿. Today we're joined by SATPAL SINGH, Chief Strategy and Sustainability Officer at PLUS Malaysia, Berhad, and he's here to talk about how PLUS, which is Southeast Asia's largest highway, is moving towards a smarter, more sustainable future and what that means for Malaysians who rely on the nation's highways every day. Welcome, SATPAL. It's good to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. And of course, we're talking about PLUS's strategy and outlook, and of course, as well as how it's done in the past year. The inaugural 𝐷𝐻𝐼 2025, that just wrapped up, and of course PLUS was the principal partner there. Tell us a little bit about the significance of the first ever 𝐷𝐻𝐼 conference.
Thank you, Jessie. I think very good. So we wanted to leverage on Malaysia's residency at the ASEAN. So the 𝐷𝐻𝐼 is the Malaysian Road Transport Tech Expo, bringing together industry players, policy makers, researchers, regulators together. And we want to be able to shape the future of mobility, but also unlock opportunities for Malaysian companies to be able to go regional. So it was incubated by the Malaysian Highway Authority, and we got great support across from the ministry and various organizations. And I think most importantly, it signifies our nation's ability to host and collaborate to bring economic prosperity across ASEAN. So I think that was a wonderful conference.
That's right. Of course, doing a little bit of reading of the 𝐷𝐼 Roads and Traffic Tech Expo, it was aimed at uniting the entire ecosystem of roads and traffic and technology sector as well. Many stakeholders, many players there. But as PLUS leads the way in this sector, and of course with this report and findings called Sustainable, Smart and Beyond, this is of course has in it the ESG elements of PLUS's not just ambition but achievements so far to date. What inspired PLUS to take the lead role in 𝐷𝐻𝐼?
Okay, perfect question. So some people realize, they don't realize, PLUS is Southeast Asia's largest highway operator. So we operate across 7 states, from the borders of Singapore to all the way to Kedah. We've got 1,200 kilometers. We have 700 bridges on PLUS Highway. So sometimes you don't realize, because we have maintained the roads to be so smooth, you don't even realize.
I was going to ask, 700?
You're on a bridge, right?
Really?
700 bridges, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a catalyst in terms of developments of little towns and industrial areas when PLUS came about. Now, roads still remain the primary mode of transport in Malaysia. A big amount of Malaysia's GDP flows through the PLUS Highway. 2 million people use the PLUS Highway every single day. So it's a core and fabric of part of Malaysia in that sense, right? And our mode is to be able to make sure we connect communities to shape a safe and sustainable future. Now, when I was in PLUS during the times of COVID, we realized the importance for us to facilitate the safe movement of goods and services. So having that, it was natural for us to, being able to take a step forward and tell 𝐷𝐻𝐼, hey, let's be this and let's lead the way forward. I think that's something that it's in our fabric. We wanted to make sure we do it.
Right, you've given me a new outlook and perspective on a highway, and of course, particularly the PLUS Highway. It's not just a highway. There's so many things that goes in motion behind the scenes to connect from one end of a user or driver's journey till the very end. So many different elements there, and I want to really get into that. Now, at 𝐷𝐻𝐼, in your keynote address at the conference, you spoke about envisioning the highway of the future, which is smart, sustainable, and going beyond. You also stressed the importance of data and innovation. At the same time, you did mention there are some critical ingredients that must come together to make this vision a reality. Walk us through a little bit of that.
So we formulated 5 key ingredients, and this has been done with extensive research that we have done overseas, what applies to Malaysia. Now, the first thing we need to be able to do is have smart, data-enabled operations and maintenance. This is infusing artificial intelligence, smart algorithms, machine learnings to make things more efficient and enhance safety. So that was the base. Now we then have to infuse this technology into the customer's journey. So what we have at PLUS is every part of your journey, when you're sitting at home and planning, you get into the car, you get into the highway, you experience the rest stops, and you reach your destination, is infused with technology. We want to make sure your commute is safe and smooth. Third of all, whenever we're building things for the future, we have to make sure we include green and circular thinking. So decarbonization, harnessing renewable energy, using sustainable material, but at the same time, these things need to be resilient for the future. Now, the fourth thing is, as we are building these things, it's not just infrastructure and road. We have to connect between infrastructure and society. So building community-centered development is very important. So highways are more than just transport corridors. They are an integral part of those communities which are working on the ground. So inclusive community spaces where people can work, people can do business, have ideas, so it's very important to us.
Right.
But finally, this has to be done with collective action. So we need everyone to work together. So it's the government, the regulators, the policymakers, the innovators, the researchers, the highway companies coming together to shape this future. So these are the kind of things that we feel are the best ingredients that we need in order for us to go sustainable, smart and beyond. And if I would just mention a little bit about what we have here, and this is available on our website. This is our sustainability report. What we see here is where the highway is today. So you've got efficient practices and things, and this on the right hand side is where we feel the highway can be in the future.
So this is futuristic, technology,
right?
And
so you'd have your cars connected to the highway system, so you get automatic real-time data as part of your vehicle itself. You've got electric charging vehicle stations. You can imagine wind turbines. You can imagine solarized streetlights, hologram advertisements, hologram signs. So these are things that we have to move forward to. It's a future that we have envisioned, but we believe if you can, imagine it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. So I think this is what we're trying to work towards.
Is there a timeline or some sort of a phase in which PLUS is looking to achieve this futuristic highway, which of course will be a reality?
We're taking those steps, and we've got a 5-year strategic roadmap to be able to do it. We have got certain things we want to achieve by 2028, and those things are already in progress, and some of those other things that will take slightly longer than that.
Does this also mean that the cost of using PLUS Highway will go up?
In fact, the cost of using PLUS Highway will be able to be maintained. In fact, we're looking at efficiency and technology in order to make sure we reduce these costs.
Well, that's good news, SATPAL. Now, given the scale and responsibility being Malaysia's largest highway operator, how does PLUS intend to leverage, you've pointed out technology, of course with the use of AI, to enhance safety? As a mom that's, driving 2 kids up and down, and of course on long journeys as well, whenever I get into the car, safety is always at the forefront of my mind, and I'm sure PLUS has some of those elements and structures in place to ensure that safety is almost guaranteed.
Absolutely. So on the ground level first, is meeting the basic expressway performance index is important for us. So that's an index that we have, and PLUS scores very highly the performance index, which means that you have to make sure certain safety measures are in place. Your pavements, for example, are very smooth, right? But what we're doing is when we're infusing technology, so let's look at an operations and maintenance perspective. So now we have got drones. So the drones are used to inspect some of our slopes that you can see on the side, is used to inspect some of the areas around. So this helps us identify and reduce the maintenance efficiency, increase the maintenance efficiency. Now the inspection time is reduced by about 98% at PLUS. It keeps people on the highway first very safe, because these workers don't have to use those harnesses and climb. Now you've got these drones. Number 2, these drones are now infused with AI, also looking at the condition of areas right outside our highway. So if there's a danger that may affect people like you and me who are commuting on the highway, we will be able to have early alerts and warnings, so they'll be able to know. What we're also now pioneering is on our vehicles, we're looking at mounting AI cameras to be able to detect potholes, cracks, debris quickly. So now there are ways of doing it. Obviously, after an accident, we can identify if there are certain debris, but using AI to be able to have predictive conclusion of that was important. Now, all of this information actually is comes together in our traffic monitoring center. So it's ASEAN's biggest traffic monitoring center. It's like your NASA control station. I remember when I first went to visit Houston many years ago, there was this beautiful control center. So you can imagine it's a smart video wall where they take 1,000 customer calls a day, integrates 2,900 CCTVs, and now all of these are AI-powered analytics, which connects your CCTVs with your video monitoring system, automatic number plate system, and this is basically the heart and command center for PLUS to make sure that we embed data and get things moving very fast. So sometimes if you decide to get off the highway at a location where you think no one's looking, we have cameras who can actually detect movement of vehicles parking at the side that get off the highway and getting in. So the purpose of this obviously is to be able to enhance safety, but someone's always watching to make sure that you're safe. One of the key things that I thought is good to highlight is our suicide attempt alert system on Penang Bridge.
Right.
So this was put in 2023 And we have AI-powered cameras together with machine learning algorithms to detect suspicious behaviors. So this is maybe someone parking at certain locations. We identified this to be one of the problems that we have, where people are actually committing suicide on Penang Bridge. So how do we be able to sort of strengthen this perspective? So putting those AI cameras in place, having sirens, and making sure that these are immediately highlighted to our traffic center so people can come on the ground, actually Jessie, has been very effective. So to date, we have averted 44 suicide attempts, right? And it's a powerful reminder that our work touches lives in meaningful, often maybe unseen ways.
Definitely, that's amazing. And for PLUS to really ramp that system up shows that PLUS is not just a concrete highway, it is a service that has heart as well. Now, Malaysia has set an ambitious net zero target that is supported by, of course, a roadmap as well. What are the key strategies PLUS is doing or thinking of in terms of incorporating to pursue that support of this very national goal? Of course, PLUS being Southeast Asia's largest highway is also a big contributor to the GDP and very much part of the ecosystem in national planning, national transportation, national goals.
So absolutely. So in order to be sustainable and smart, right? So we talked a little bit about the technology to infusing. So let's talk a little bit about the sustainable aspect. So we have a net zero aspiration, just like a lot of other organizations have committed to. About 90% of our emissions are coming from lighting. But we need this lighting because this is used to illuminate the highway and keep all of you safe. But what we've done is we've made this lighting efficient. So we have retrofitted 37,000 LED lights across PLUS Highway, and this has helped reduce our energy consumption. So we talk about the cost of operations. So we're always looking at ways in order for us to be more efficient, reduce costs while maintaining the same maintenance standards that we need, right? Secondly is on some of our rest stops, we have solar panels already put in place. So 12 of our rest stops across the country are powered by solar. Not fully, but as we go across, we're looking to have electric efficient fleet and vehicles. And as a next step, we're actually looking at solarized street lighting, so street lights which are powered by solar car parks, so car parks which are covered by solar roofs, and we're also looking at large-scale solar farms. Overall, our efforts since 2017, we have accelerated. We have reduced our consumption by about 30%. We had a 2035 target of reducing it by 35%, and we are well ahead of our target because of the passion and things that we want to do to sort of improve the environment. Together as well, some people probably notice or don't really notice this, we have a natural carbon sequester. So we have 270,000 trees that we have planted across our highway. This becomes a natural sequester towards absorbing some of the emissions.
And makes the journey a lot more greener
and beautiful, right?
And more beautiful. It is definitely a beautiful journey as you travel along PLUS as well. I've never been more fascinated by a highway and some of what it does in terms of its vision and ambition as well. Now, the buzzword or the area of interest for a lot of organizations and corporates as well is looking at how they can contribute towards climate change. And as we talk about that, we've already seen a lot of visible effects. What key measures are PLUS undertaking to ensure that infrastructure that you're building remains stable, that is maintained well, and of course secure during some of these climate risks, incidents, especially for communities along the highway, but also for commuters?
No, thank you for asking that question. So, as we are all focused on, even at an international level, I see, in terms of reducing our carbon emissions, now we at the tropics are subject to the adverse impacts of climate change, a lot more than certain other areas, right? So the level of riverine flooding, the level of flash floods, landslides, deforestation, all of these things together create some amount of climate impact. And we saw a couple of years ago, I think it was 2021, where we had huge floods in the Klang Valley area, right? So we have to be able to take action in order for us to do it. So we're looking at it in three ways. So, and I think highway users would appreciate some of these things, all your customers, right? Preventive, detective, and corrective measures. From a preventive perspective, we have to make sure that our maintenance are immaculate. So we're moving towards predictive maintenance. We spoke a little bit about making sure that our 6,000 drains, 8,000 slopes, 700 bridges, 5,000, 6,000 kilometers of pavement are maintained to the T to make sure that we are able to withstand that infrastructure climate change impact. Number two, we do training and mock-up drills. with all our relevant agencies, including having our boats and whatever to be ready. We have now installed acoustic emissions under our bridges. Even if we have an earthquake, for example, some of the bridges will be able to see whether there's going to be any deterioration, right? So we have that from a preventive measure. Now, from a detective perspective, we have rain gauges, 18 what we call real-time monitoring systems across our highways to be able to predict the amount of rainfall, including looking at temperature, humidity, and things like that, for us to be able to take action. All of this then, if a situation still happens, we are able to have an emergency response plan with alternative routes.
This is some state-of-the-art tech that you are working with, SATPAL. Definitely, you know, a three-step approach to ensuring there is a safety where climate change is concerned. But I just want to stop you here and say that for a highway that spans 1,200 km from the tip to the other tip of West Malaysia, I'm sure there has been a few bumps, or there are a few issues that you will face in terms of enhancing or maintaining the highway and its services as well. What could some of those challenges have been, and has there been you know, a sort of a case or an issue in terms of maintaining that smoothness?
So I think the idea of making sure that we continuously maintain our expressway performance index has been there, and that's something we have done. Now, how do we do it more cost effectively, more efficiently, but at the same time looking after the environment? I think those are the things we continuously do. So as you mentioned, embedding technology is one of those ways, right? Improving safety. So we still have to make sure that the rakyat has the same smooth experience, but behind the scenes, a lot of these things are happening. Maybe one example I can also share, there was a landslide around one of our locations which happened outside our highway. But because we had our drones in place, we were able to detect the landslide early and do any intervention so that it doesn't affect the highway. So these are the kind of things. One of those things I'd like to mention is we did something called a climate risk assessment. So we were Malaysia's first infrastructure company to do it. It was an end-to-end climate risk assessment, and we were, as a testament of our efforts, I presented this at the United Nations a couple of times, and we have received certain accolades and awards, and organizations are looking to see how we can also implement it. The process is actually quite simple. To be able to identify the last 40 years, what were the difficulties and challenges we had? We had 100 people come together with 40 years of experience each to identify certain climate calamities that has happened. Then we infuse it with a climate prediction model. So these are the various satellites around the Earth that we have to have certain climate models. We put that in place and we incorporate that into our geospatial system. When that is there, now we go down on the ground to be able to see if there are certain hotspot locations, do we have the capability and strength to be able to withstand? And these are the improvements we're making. Now, why this is important, Jessie, and I must stress, it's not just to look after infrastructure. Of course, we are the custodians of national infrastructure, so national, we have to look after infrastructure, but it's also very important because this exercise not only kept people who are working on the highway safe, it also keeps the people who are using the highway and the communities who work around the highway, those who live across the highway. So that's a lifeline for them. So by doing this exercise, we will be able to identify certain areas across the highway, certain kampongs, where we went down on the ground and helped them with strengthening their climate resilience. So I think that was a very interesting sort of case study.
That's definitely more than just a feather in Plus's hat, because you know, CSR an important element as well. Now, why is it important to embed circular economy principles, and what is Plus doing in this area particularly, or perhaps the highlight?
Absolutely. So circular economy is something that's less thought about and less spoken about, but I think it's really, really important for long-term sustainability. So internally within Plus, we have campaigns where you bring your own water bottle. We do fabric recycling, so we've got about, I think, 3,000 kg of fabric that we have collected over the year. We recycled about half a ton of waste material that we use, right? And various campaigns across the 7 states where we inculcate composting, upcycling, urban farming, turning off lights. So we want to inculcate that behavior with people at Plus. But what was very important was also, how do highway users experience this? So if you've ever driven across to Seremban, just before you get to Seremban, there's the Seremban Highway Rest Stop. So this was an amazing testament of a rest stop that we refurbished. It's become a lifeline.
We're seeing some images here on screen as well.
So it's become a lifeline for people in that area for economic activity, right? So this was pioneered. It's called Malaysia's first sustainable rest stop. It was launched by PMX last year. It has solar-powered roofs. All the water is harvested and then used for landscaping and the washrooms and whatnot. The food is composted. We use biodegradable material, and there's also an exhibition space for children to be able to learn about sustainability and how we can be more sustainable. So I think this is a blueprint for the future. We want to be able to expand and replicate it across the highway network. Together, we're also expanding Sraman to create a hyper station. So I think this would be one of its kind, and we have had a lot of visitors internationally who have come in to see how this model works, and hopefully we can also export this across the region.
Fantastic. We see those images there. Of course, it's vibrant, it's clean, and it makes that journey stop a lot more comfortable as well. We also saw that, and you mentioned earlier, the integrated EV charging hub at Sraman. Tell us a little bit more about that as we see more EV or electric vehicles on the road now.
So great. The government has a 2030 target of having 100,000 EV vehicles on the road. We are part of the national level inter-ministry council that talks about how we can expand this, right? So at the moment we have 114 direct fast charging EV points on the highway across north to south, and we are planning to have about 350 by the end of 2028. So any of you who are using EV cars, range anxiety will not be a problem on Plaza's Highway anymore, right? Now we're also pioneering the development of the nation's first EV hyperstation. So imagine a petrol station, but it's all EV chargers, right? And this will be coupled with a retail hub, a completion point. We're looking at the early 2027 completion. It'll also be the first of its kind in the region.
Convenience and safety has never sounded cooler as a discussion. SATPAL, they say as well, leave no one behind, or rather no one gets left behind. How is Plus subscribing to this by uplifting and empowering smaller businesses and those that are touched or affected by Plus's development?
Thank you very much. So because we've got a large footprint across Malaysia, we have the opportunity to sort of deliver impact. And there are communities that live within maybe 30-40 kilometers of our highway. So we fondly call them our fence line community. So we look after them. So when you go to each of those highway stops, about 90% of these business partners who are highway stall operators are from those local communities. So over the year, we have uplifted their social economic conditions and helped them do work in many ways. So at the moment we have more than 500 of these SMEs, and we continuously provide them annual training programs in terms of how do you do your menu, cleanliness, digitalization. So we're also bringing them along the way. At our operations and maintenance perspective, we've got young proteges. So these young people who come out of universities and want to have an opportunity to have technical experience. We've trained about 800 young professionals over the years to be part of it. And leaving no one behind is very important. So in terms of small businesses, we want them to benefit from highway development. So if they register as a vendor for us, we have various empowerment and development skill programs where registered vendors can come and work with us. And we believe in local. 99% of our procurement is local, and 90% of our procurement is supporting the Bumiputera community. So I think that's very inclusive in the way we're doing this. One interesting exercise that we sort of inculcated a couple of years ago is called our Community Day. Okay. So on one day, and obviously there's preparations before this, we get 2,500 volunteers, plus volunteers as well as young people from universities and colleges to, on the same time, go down to 51 locations across the country and do social work. So this is inculcated also the feeling of people to go, young people to go down on the ground and do surveys, but also create an economic impact, and social impact. So to schools, to suraus, to community areas, we're excited for our next community day. It's going to come in the next couple of weeks. So we
look out for that.
Yeah, look out for that, right? So yes.
Right. After this long list of achievements, SATPAL, and of course in terms of where you're headed in the next year as well, what are some other exciting innovations that Plus is working on at the moment that you can share? And you spoke about having that customer experience as essential as a service by Plus as well. And so what can customers then further expect from Plus besides all the amazing
So absolutely. So
ideas?
If you guys haven't downloaded the Plus app, please do download the Plus app. It's an amazing app, right? So first of all, obviously when you come across our highway, cashless payment options are available at all our rest stops. So it's easy for us to go digital and have cashless payments. Now within our Plus app, we have an AI chatbot who can answer all your questions, even take SOS calls, where do you want to eat, what do you want to do. So all of those things are things we're incorporating within our app. One important thing is something we call a travel time advisory. So this is a advisory tool that infuses machine learning, AI, looks at patterns and gives you the optimal departure time, especially during peak periods.
That's
so when you're
definitely
traveling
helpful.
over weekends, you're traveling over long
Festive
festive periods, this will be very useful for us.
SATPAL, thank you for coming in here and of course sharing some of the achievements of PLUS, but also PLUS's vision moving forward for a sustainable, smart future and what lies beyond as well. We'll speak to you soon, SATPAL, and it's been a pleasure having you here. PLUS continues to set the benchmark for Malaysia's highways, combining smart technology, sustainability and forward-thinking solutions to meet the needs of today and the challenges of tomorrow. Their commitment to innovation and excellence ensures safer, more efficient and environmentally responsible journeys for us all. I'm 𝐍𝐀𝐓𝐈𝐿. This has been The Nation. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. And do follow us for more in-depth conversations on issues that matter. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.